Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the new rules for publishing in 2026. And I know many of you have been struggling to learn how to publish correctly with trusted partners and publish with confidence. We've got a lot of really interesting, fun stuff that we can do that we couldn't do a year ago, and a lot of things to learn about so you can avoid the scammers that are coming out of every corner of your communications. I hope to empower you today to do that. Where are you now in your publishing journey? Do you have a draft? Are you ready to publish? Do you have a book? Are you in idea stage? Have you published a book and you need to relaunch it? Maybe even are you planning to self-publish? We'll talk about this in just a second. Or traditionally publish or find a smaller hybrid press. Doesn't matter where you are, if you're going to self-publish or going for the big publishing deal. This whole presentation will help you separate the wheat from the chaff, I guess I want to say. My goal is to help you get a great start in 2026 and learn how to avoid the scammy stuff and save thousands of dollars and a lot of time. So that's my goal. My roots are in technical writing, and then I got a offer to work at Hewlett Packard in France. And I took that and I wanted to be a travel writer, of course, because everybody wants to be a travel writer. And so I started doing travel writing, and then the internet came along, and I was one of the first bloggers. I started blogging, and then I started self-publishing before Amazon and Smashwords and Drafted Digital were around. And then I was a journalist on travel and technology, and then a journalist for PBS on self-publishing technology. So interesting. And then I started helping my friends in San Francisco, where I lived, who were getting traditional deals, who were not getting $100,000 book deals. They were starting to get $15,000 book deals, and they couldn't make a living on that. So I started helping them learn how to self-publish, create websites, do all the geeky stuff. And so I've been helping authors publish for 25 years or even longer, if I really count back. So it's been quite a journey. I've written a lot of books about self-publishing. The Publishing Workbook for Independent Authors is my most recent guide. This was a traditionally published book, the self-publishing book by PBS. I have traditionally published, and I have self-published. And I'm also a hybrid author. I've traditionally published and self-published, which is different than using a hybrid publishing service. And I'll tell you about that in a minute. These are my motorcycle travel books. And I've also done a lot of, and you can think about doing this too, a lot of little books on how-to books and giveaways and guidebooks. Some of these are passion projects. Some of these are money-making projects. They're all very enjoyable to me. But let's talk about you. You're looking for your perfect publishing path. And some of you are looking at traditional hybrid publishing services. Maybe you don't know what publishing services are really. So let's define all of this. So traditional or corporate publishing or legacy publishing, it's being called these days, because it's kind of the old way to publish. Like I said, my friends back in the day were getting a living wage by publishing books, but now that is very rare. I want to tell you about where the money is here. The money for the traditional publishers, because they have big offices in New York City or San Francisco, they have a lot of overhead. So they need to focus on their best-selling authors like Danielle Steele and Stephen King and Michelle Obama. These authors make most of the money for those companies. So the top 2, 3, 5% of authors make all the money for those companies. So everybody else gets kind of short shrift. They maybe get 5 to 15K advance. They do get a lot of editing and all of that, but you have very little control and a long lead time to publishing. And there are a lot of gatekeepers, but there is industry validation if you're willing to wait a couple of years. And it may be 3 or 4 years. I know authors who have been chasing agents for 2 or 3 years, and then maybe getting a publishing deal, which takes another 2 years, maybe 3 years. So they've actually been marketing their book to agents and traditional publishing houses for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And that is, for me, that's not satisfying at all. So now we'll move on to a hybrid press. Now, many of you know She Writes Press. Brooke Warner really pioneered the hybrid press. Now, hybrid press is pretty much just like the traditional publishing houses, except for you share the cost to produce the book, which is hybrid presses usually charge maybe 8 to 15K, but some might charge as little as 5 or 6, and many charge 35, 50K, 100K. Some of them, like Greenleaf, serves corporate, like CEOs, and they charge a fortune. They publish under their brands, like Simon and Schuster will publish you under Simon and Schuster. She Writes Press. You share the cost to produce. They make their money by sharing royalties. So they only take books that they think can sell. They think that they can sell your book because they make their money by splitting royalties. And these are much more generous than traditional publishing, which gives you about 12%. And they turn down books. Now, people you love to use the word hybrid. It's a trendy term. So some legitimate publishing services professionals use it, but they're not a hybrid press. They're a publishing services company. So look at the difference between these. A lot of not so legitimate services also use the word hybrid. So don't be fooled and make sure that you know what you're getting. Now, publishing services are really work for hire companies. They make money by giving you the service of publishing your book. They'll edit it, they'll design it, they'll upload it to Ingram Spark and Amazon or Draft to Digital or Publish Drive. They'll do all the project management. They may offer publicity services and marketing services on top of their publishing services package. So they might start low at 5,000 just to get your book out there, but if you want marketing, it'll be 15K and above. Now, because this is work for hire, they don't get any royalties. Their job is done, you pay them, and you get 100% of the profit. So that's the difference between the publishing services and hybrid presses. Now, publishing services can publish using their ISBNs. Like Gatekeeper Press is a publishing services company, and they charge a little bit extra if you have your own imprint, which I want you to do, which I always encourage you to do, and use your own ISBNs and your own company name so that later you want to be able to port it wherever you want. So now there's a question that I want to answer here. Small independent presses, that's a traditional deal. Small presses may not give you an advance, but they may give you royalties. So that's the difference between legacy, corporate, Simon and Schuster, Penguin Random House, or Random Penguin, as we love to call them in this industry, and a small press. Now, there are what we kind of call vanity presses, which is not a real term. And it used to be that all self-publishing was considered vanity, but nowadays, because we can publish professionally using the POD services, vanity is not really valid anymore, but they're all are very much predatory, unscrupulous publishing services. And this includes all of the author solutions companies that I've listed on top here: Archway, Ex Libris, Balboa, LifeRich, Wespo. Page Turner is terrible. Tate Publishing recently went out of business. They got sued so often. They will upsell you on packages. They'll call and text you all the time. They'll offer literary agents and movie deals that are it's silly. It's just not something that somebody should do for you. Just for the money. They don't really vet anybody. They will publish anybody. Now, a lot of these services won't publish, for instance, erotica, but they kind of draw the line there. And then there's self and assisted self-publishing. So that means you can do as do it yourself as much as you want. No matter how you're publishing, you're probably going to pay for some tools like Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid. You might pay for an editor, even if you're traditionally publishing. You may pay for professional services. You're going to upload your own books to Ingram Spark, Draft to Digital, Amazon. This gives you all the control and freedom and all the money, but all the responsibility. And it's a business endeavor. And you can go ahead and use free ISBNs on Amazon or Ingram Spark or Draft to Digital, but know that you don't own the book data there. You can't port your product that's identified with the product number, which is an ISBN for your paperback, from Draft to Digital if you use the Draft to Digital free ISBN to Ingram Spark. So buy your own ISBNs. I have a lot of information, free information about this. So and you can just also Google Carla King, buy your own ISBNs. I have a big article. Everybody's seen the Matrix, right? There's the blue pill and the red pill. It's kind of a joke, but kind of not. Somebody gave me this description of why they weren't publishing their book. They discovered that as long as they stayed in the dream of having a book out in the world, it was perfect. The book was perfect. But once they face the reality of publishing, it's no longer perfect. It's subject to critique, eyes in the world. One of the big I see when I'm helping authors try to finish their book is I see that they're rewriting chapter one over and over and over and over again. Have you done that? I have done that. I know that chapter one is important, but honestly, when I'm editing, I look at chapter one and I'm like, I can't even evaluate chapter one until I see the whole book, because chapter one is a preview of the whole book. So you need to move on from chapter one, finish the book, and come back to chapter one. Just getting lost, almost always ready, and waiting for perfection and chasing a deal. So the hard work here is hunkering down and doing your comparables research. And this stuff is the thing that you need to do when you are also writing a book proposal to get a traditional publishing deal. You need to do a comparables research, kind of create a budget and a marketing plan. You should know what the business of publishing is all about. You need to know what ISBNs are, PCIP blocks for the libraries, understand copyright, your rights, contracts. And you also need to be willing, I think, to make mistakes. And I think I learned that as an early blogger, that I'd had to get that blog post out and just hit publish. So I know that can be really very, very hard. And I think this is a much easier scenario, reality facing, when you have a group like a writers group that can tell you if your chapter or your story is ready. Okay. This is also for those of you who think, okay, I can't do this, but this is what you need to know to hire Outsmart. Now, I know a lot of authors who have just Googled and found a publishing assistant and hired them, trusting that they know what they're doing. This is not the case at all. There are a lot of assistants and they have publishing skills. They might just upload to Amazon. That's all they know how to do. Or they may really know that you need your own ISBNs and they know how to use BookFunnel. They know how to use Publisher Rocket. They know about Bowker ISBNs, etc. So this is what I aim to do, is help you hire smart as well. And just do what you like to do. I'd also love to know, where are you stuck exactly? Are you in the too many choices? Are you getting conflicting advice? Have you reached out to people and you're not sure who to trust? What does self-publishing really cost? It's a choice, right? You might be faced with the choice of spending money on a new laptop, or spending money on a family vacation or a solo retreat, or something else. But a publishing budget starts at about that cost. Few $1,000s to 15K, I would say, if you're adding marketing and publication, marketing and promotion help. And maybe the minimum DIY over time might be five or 6,000 over time, because you've got a few $1,000s in editing, which is going to be your biggest expense. Now, if you learn the business and learn how to invest wisely and avoid those newbie mistakes that and maybe you're paying for incompetence or bad actors. I see a lot of people paying way too much money for incompetence, incompetent help. And so that's why I want everyone to know how the publishing business so they can hire the right consultants and coaches. Now, you may be paying $5 an hour for an assistant at the Philippines or India or somewhere like that, or you may be taking the big hit and paying $3,000 for a publishing consult, a business consult. Many times the more expensive services are actually cheapest in the end, because that person will be the expert and get you there faster. Whereas you may struggle along and have to spend a long time with someone who's less qualified. Making the decision about how to publish, I would love for you to think about, what are your decision points? Do you want it fast? Do you want total control? Are you willing to risk the amount of time that it takes to publish, pursuing a traditional publishing deal, or finding the right small press? How much are you willing to invest? Are you willing to actually learn the publishing business? Now, I don't know a lot of people who go into business without learning the business. I mean, even I like to say, the donut shop. If you're going to open a donut shop on a corner, you're going to want to see if there's a coffee shop or a donut shop nearby, right? You need to do your research. And how committed are you? How much time can you carve to learn this business and really make it work? Now, it's okay if it's a personal project and you want to have time, and it's okay to drag it on. But if you really want to make a business and absolutely make money, whether it's from the book or from speaking or from doing business somehow consulting, you might want to hit the publish button sooner. I am going to move on to the scams, and there's a lot of talk about all these scams that are happening. And if you follow me on social media or on my Substack, you'll be aware of these. I want to tell you the warning signs. Anybody who calls or emails or texts you out of the blue is probably not a legit service that you want to work with. They will do it, but it's probably an AI service, AI editing, AI covers. These people work in call centers. The Author Solutions company, basically, for all those companies, remember that I listed on the top of this sort of scammy vanity press companies? That's one call center, and Author Solutions has people in a call center just trying to make a deal, because they get a commission when they sign you up. And so they decide how much of a commission that they're going to get. Okay, if they sign you for $10,000 and they get 20%, they might go down to $8,000 and cut their commission a little bit, right? So they're always making a deal. They use the language of hopes and dreams. Don't you want to get your book out, your dream? And they have an urgency. Okay, I'll give it to you for 8,500, but you need to sign by noon today, that kind of thing. Legit services do not do this. They absolutely 100% do not do this. So do some detective work and just beware of companies who contact you out of the blue. Again, they won't. Beware of lookalikes. I'm going to show you lookalikes in a minute. There's a writer beware blog that you can Google that a lot of bad actors are getting listed on. And you can also, I would recommend that everybody become a member of the Alliance of Independent Authors, Ally. They have a services directory. Actually, you don't have to be a member to see their services directory, and they have green light, yellow light, red light on the services. My services are green lighted, right? Author Solutions are red lighted. But it's a great company. Also, if you are looking at getting a publishing contract, if you're a member, Ally will look at your contract for you and help you determine future rights, for instance, because before before ebooks came out, authors didn't have the future rights weren't written into their contracts. So publishers just published their ebooks and took all the money themselves because they were contracted. Their contract with the publisher said they're going to publish the print book, the book. And so this was reversed, and most authors got their ebook rights and were paid for their ebook sales because of services like Ali and IBPA, the Independent Book Publishers Association. Now there's something in your contract called all future rights to my book, which includes games, right, movies, et cetera, et cetera. And reach out to a trusted professional. You can email me anytime going, have you heard of this company? And many times I know the people in the business and I can ask them about it directly, such as this lookalike scam. So, lookalike scams are very bad actors. They're companies who set up a website that looks like somebody else's website, a trusted website. And they set it up just like they sell services under their name, basically. And I got a call from a woman a few months ago that said, I just paid $8,000 to Ingram Spark to publish my book, and they did a terrible job, and I wanted my money back. And I'm like, okay, I don't think Ingram Spark will do publishing services. Well, look at this. Does this look like Ingram Spark? This is ingramsparkbookpublishers.com. And I was like, wait a minute. I have never seen this before. And they have services for 8,000, 14, 15, 20K, etc. And so I went in a chat with them and they pretended to be Ingram Spark. And so this woman knows Ingram Spark and trusts Ingram Spark. And so without knowing anything about publishing, she's very happy to give Ingram Spark $8,000 to handle it for her. Right. And it's just tragic how much this is happening. Now, she was very dissatisfied, and I sent this to Paige and the director of Ingram Spark, and they sent it to their lawyers along with a trail of my findings, and they're down. They've been taken down. But they're going to pop up with somebody else's brand again. They're overseas. They don't get punished for it. They have these big server farms and people who are paid to scam money out of you, and that's what they do. So if you ever see a company like this, go to ingramspark.com and look for book publishers, their book publishing service under ingramspark.com. Does that make sense? This is also Amazon Creative Hub. Amazon has no such service. I'm getting emails. Are people with books? Are you getting emails all the time these days that say, "Oh, I loved your book. I can't believe that, how great it is. It's got a strong appeal." This one's from reedsy.com. Brooke from Reedsy, but look at the email address. It's brooke@reedsy.gmail.com. Okay, so also I asked for her free visibility audit, and it came back with this header, which is a very bad facsimile of the Reedsy logo. And I even said, hey, I was at Author Nation just last week, and I was right on the booth right next to Matt and Ricardo, who are the founders. Say hi to them. So, oh, I'm not in the office with Matt and Ricardo. And I was sitting there with them. And so I sent this to Matt and Ricardo, and it's kind of impossible to do anything about this. So it's up to you, unfortunately. Also, you might be getting emails from Elizabeth Gilbert and, Cheryl Strayed saying, I really want to connect with you. Do not do that. Do not do that. This is not them. It's not them. This is rampant right now. And so I'm just getting, the thing is that they can, with AI, they can scrape reviews and your book description and write a very convincing email that says, I really have loved your book and I really want to help you. So this is very flattering to a lot of authors, especially a lot of new authors. So just delete these. Okay, have you had enough of the scary stuff? What works? Okay, what really works? How to avoid bad actors, you've got that. I want to show you how to connect with real readers and connect with other authors so that you have the opportunity to connect with these people before your book is published. Now, this takes engagement. And is Colleen here? Colleen might be here. She was in my last year's publishing program and said, Carla helped me to understand that if I want people to read my book, I need to engage, like get an email list. And your greatest brand is yourself, and you need to put yourself out there. And she published In Search of Giants this year, and it got so much attention in her niche. And she's been to like London to talk to the boys at Eton, and it's about the genetic gigantism gene from Ireland. And so it really hits on a lot of different niches, like the science one, the Irish heritage one. She's got a lot of niches to find and promote. She was at a Irish festival, etc. So she's really putting herself out there, and we're proud of her and having fun with it. Now, this is for later, and you will get these slides so that you can get all of this information. I have had 2 talks with Kevin Tumlinson, who used to be a marketing director at Draft to Digital, but now just does the Wordslinger podcast. And our 2 talks were great. We talked a lot because we were both in high tech before, this concept of MVP, not most valuable player, but most viable product, and how tech and a lot of product companies put out of the most viable product first so that they can get feedback from their customers. Okay, so this is testing. There's risk of imperfection, things like that. But the things that we talk about here, and here mostly in episode 118, are ebook first, short form storytelling, and just getting over yourself and just doing it, which can be so hard to get up the nerve. Much easier when you have a group or a program that helps, with a community that can say, yes, Carla, you're ready. Yes, you're ready, that you should put the story out. And I love to do this. And in the Publishing 101 program, I do this is try to help with short form writing and publishing as you finish your book. But you can get feedback. And during your launch, up to your launch, after launch, and forever. So you always have, a juicy kind of ecosystem where you're putting out short stories or short form storytelling, blogging, for instance, so that people become aware and you can communicate with them. Now, I did this starting in 1995 with my blog, but this is old now. These are all old. This is siloed. There were 500 people on the internet, for heaven's sakes, when people followed me all through my various trips and wanted to buy my book when it came out. But it's hard these days. So it's much better, I think, to do a Substack. It's got a real ecosystem. It gives you your subscriber email addresses. Some authors are even foregoing their own website and making their website on Substack. I have some warnings about this, and in the Publishing 101, we'll go over this. It's a wonderful ecosystem, and there's plenty of material for you to dig into how to promote your book and how to publish your book. I'm pre-publishing China Road on Substack with my audience, and they're basically beta readers. Medium is also good. They stopped giving you your email addresses last May, but you can always put a freebie in your article to get readers to sign up. I've got a Medium versus Substack and your author email list post on my carlaKingWrites.substack.com. You can subscribe to that for free, or you can give me money, but you can read this and decide which one is for you. A lot of business people and health professionals like Medium, for instance. But I'll let you dig into that on your own, or if you join Publishing 101, we'll dig into that for you as well. But the real question is, where are the authors like you publishing right now? Then this goes back to the first step, is creating your business, doing your comparables research for your self-publishing or your book proposal. because connecting with readers again can be really hard. And so again, a lot of objections I hear, or I'm not tech savvy enough, what if people ignore it? I don't want to give away my best material for free. You don't have to do that. It might hurt my chances with traditional publishers. There's workarounds for this for sure. So I want you to try to, get over that by joining a community, even if it's not publishing 101, but learning and being with other people so that this group, your first line of other writers, can help you get over negative self talk and tell you that you are ready to publish the story. So I hope you have the information now to avoid scams and misinformation, choose your publishing path, maybe have a better idea, connect with readers. And I really want you to learn the publishing basics. So then again, I know it's a very foggy kind of process, and I want to clear up some things in my program. It can't be done fast. 6 weeks is the shortest time probably to learn about publishing functionally, about the business and what you can do. So every year I do a publishing masterclass. I wanted to call this Publishing 101 because I realized that people really need to start at the beginning. But this is a full masterclass, and it starts on January 20th and it goes for 6 weeks. And you can start now. I'm going to show you how to do that. But what I want to let you know is that unlike a lot of other programs, which sell a publishing class and then they sell you a marketing class and then they sell you a promotion class, I do not do that. All of these things, writing short, writing toward your beta readers, writing to publication, is roll all marketing and promotion while you're publishing. So it's really part of a system. And I do not feel like this can be separated. There's way too much overlap and so many opportunities to market while you're publishing. I don't want you to miss those opportunities for marketing and encouragement even before you start publishing your book. It's a holistic process, and some examples of integrating these processes are your book proposal can be your business plan. Your chapters can become a blog post or blog adjacent. Your book description can become marketing copy for ads, socials, and publicity pitches. This integration and not separation saves so much money and time. It's kind of astounding. It's really the fast track, because there's nothing worse than just finishing your book and then having to spend a whole nother year marketing your book before you launch it. And that's what happens to most people. Kathy Tong is just one of the examples of the people who came to me just completely confused. And I wish I had known about all this before I started this crazy journey, because you can spend months and again, thousands of dollars on people who really have a vested interest in you paying them more money and more money and more money. It took her a while to find me, and then she published this amazing book, Not Quite Supermodel. It's really fun and wonderful based on her life as a not quite supermodel. You can go to my website, have met many more people who have testimonials if you want that kind of proof there. But I want you to have a happy new year and meet your goals in 2026, because this is I think of as a publishing incubator for your book, so that you can avoid these false starts and just really hit the ground running and start really marketing first and planning your promotion and launch plan, and then launch it with some real force in it, and just proactively make plans and create steps and be able to hire out what you need to hire out. There's 6 modules: book positioning, planning your path, book production, growing your early readership, that's short-term form storytelling, planning your book launch, and how to pay, what tools to pay for and who to hire. It's also got a little class on AI for authors, and then one on author branding that everybody loves, and all about printing. And there's really amazing new things that you can do with printing and crowdfunding too. And my friends at Books Go Social threw in 7 social media classes too. That was wonderful. And then you'll get my digital publishing workbook and a bunch of cheat sheets. So the class is $597, but if you sign up, you get $100 off. I have a track for publishing professionals. So there may be some publishing professionals here. I do train publishing professionals that you can hire to help you with the book process, and I certify them so that you can trust them. And I have some if you want to let me know if you need them. Okay, the schedule is Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it's recorded. And it's 6 Mondays. And a discussion group starts too. And this is your community here. So you can get to know each other, share your work, get accountability partners. That's always super fun. The people who have been in my classes know that the community is a huge part of the class itself. It's not just a class and then you're left alone until the next class. So also, if you sign up before the 20th, I will give you a free 30-minute one-on-one consult. Okay. And then you also have access to the 2025 recordings. Okay. So between now and January 20th, you can look at these. And then my all new 2026 information will be less of a slog. You'll get a running start. Knowledge is power. And I hope that this really helped you. And I'm going to stop sharing, and you can go to carlaking.com/publishing101 to sign up. Go take a look and ask me any questions. Also, you can email me and we'll start. Gloria, I've heard that anything you publish on Substack is considered published and can't be submitted elsewhere. You have to know if, like, I submitted something to the Portland Oregonian about the PAM, Portland Art Museum. And I realized that I had published it on my Substack and they wanted first rights. So I had to not do that. So if you have to figure out what your goal is, I have had more luck building my audience naturally than via outlets like that. I would have loved to have had that in there. So that was a mistake. I would have loved to have that in the newspaper in Portland, because then I would have gotten a lot more people who were interested in my other writing. Perhaps. So yeah, you can save stuff. I actually did write I replaced it with a shorter piece, just about one picture that really struck me. And I took it down and I said, okay, it was up for like a day and it came down, but I haven't heard back from them again. So I think I blew it. I should have done that first. Heather, the book distributors, I have my own ISBN. I hope you have purchased 10 ISBNs. And if you have not, please go back and do so. You can buy one ISBN from Bowker, or you can buy 10. And the beginning 10 gives you a publisher number, and then you can assign your publishing name business to that. Now you can make up a name as long as you're not infringing on any trademarks. And it's easy to research that, but you need 10. Yes, good. You have 10 so that you can submit it to the Library of Congress in the US. If you're in the US, in Canada is a whole different system. In the UK is a whole different system. And get a PCIP block. That's a cataloging and publication block. Library sales are very lucrative. They buy rights to publish your ebooks, and maybe you can get a hardcover POD hardcover as well for libraries. I think most people who pull the trigger do wrong is they use the free ISBNs. Okay, so Johnny Woods, what's the outcome after 6 weeks? Information learning. Listen, it's knowing the business, starting a business, being able, and we'll do this together. In the first week, we research your comparables, and that builds on the steps that you do later, like who you follow, where you might publish. If other authors like you are on Medium, you need to be there too. If they're on Substack, you need to be there too. Reaching out and actually connecting. Now, some people actually do this during the 6 weeks, and especially the people who sign up in December and see all of the other the 2025 materials, because you have a head start. Comparable analysis is probably the hardest hurdle to get over, but it informs everything else that you do. And the outcome is that you actually have all the information that you need to publish. You have all the information that you need to hire smart. You have all the information you need to maybe get an LLC and have a publishing imprint if you want. It's very inexpensive to do. I have a lot of tricks in a lot of places to do that kind of thing easily. If you're not in the US and if you want to do this in the US, there's a way to create a US company that is a legal entity so that you can be an author in the US, which can be much more lucrative than being in the UK, perhaps, or Australia or Canada. So basically, it's soup to nuts. You'll have everything you need. And some people will publish within just a few months of the class, and others will procrastinate. We try our best to support each other. And even as far as connecting writing groups so that you can test your book description, your book cover, even articles. So accountability partnering is something that I love to encourage in this kind of a class. Thank you. Yes, I am. As you see, I can still, my voice is a little bit still compromised. Heather, what might be one of the better book distributors? Well, this is also covered in the class in detail, but a lot of the POD book distribution companies use Ingram Spark. If you're using Ingram Spark alone, you might be missing out on some extra distribution. There's a company called Publish Drive that does not take a royalty split like Draft to Digital or Ingram Spark or StreetLib, but they charge a fee. So if you sell a lot of books and you just look at the fee structure versus what you're paying in royalty fees or profit sharing fees. And it can be a much better solution for you if you're selling a lot of books. They also have tools like Amazon Ads tool, which is very interesting. It's all AI powered. So they're looking at the other books that they have in Publish Drive, and they're seeing what ads are working and what aren't. And they're helping you build your ads for Amazon, because you should launch with ads, because that first week or two or month that you launch is your biggest chance for becoming a bestseller by making your book visible. And Amazon always wants to float bestsellers, because if you think about it, Amazon wants to encourage you to sell more because they want to sell more. They make money when you make money, right? And so they will reward you for having a bestseller. We'll also talk about pre-orders and how to, maybe by the end of the class, a lot of people will have put their book up for pre-order, which means that you have the metadata for your book, which is the book cover, which is very changeable, right? You can change your book cover. You can't change the title, subtitle, or your author name, or the trim size, but you can change your interior and you can change your cover. And you can actually put your book up for sale. Say you want to start selling in September 15th, 2026. And you can put your book up for sale up to a year in advance. And then Amazon and some of the other stores will collect all of your credit card, all of the sales credit card information, and charge your customer's credit card on the day that it goes up for sale. And that can skyrocket you in an hour to a bestseller. So you keep an eye on that. When you have a best-selling book, you can put that on your website, and you can start getting the ads focused and working for you. Deb, how often do you offer the class during the year? I always do it in January, February. Sorry, it's not ideal for you. It's offered on demand, so you can take it on demand after that. And I may offer it later in the year, but oftentimes I just offer it live once a year. So I hope that you can join and maybe just catch up via the replays. It's 90 minutes. And what I do is I present for 30 to 45 minutes, and then we discuss and talk and work through our problems for the next, could be up to an hour, 45 minutes or an hour. So that's the real value there too, is being able to mastermind and brainstorm with me and with the other people in the class. And then between the classes, we have the discussion group. So we can say, okay, here's my cover design brief, right? As we work on cover design briefs, we have that branding class that you can take as soon as you enroll. And you can figure out what your brand is after your comparables, really, and then give the cover design brief and figure out who book designer to hire. I have a lot of resources for you. I have really great editors in all price ranges. I have really great book design companies in all price ranges, $300 to $3,000. I have these guys, the book designers who design books for Simon and Schuster and HarperCollins, as well as self-publishers. And they are amazing. I mean, your cover can skyrocket your sales, really. So it's all about having the right people to help you again. Gloria, comparables are when you do a book proposal, you have to tell the agent or the publishing company, like, what 5 other books are like yours right now? Right? What are those books? And what I love about comparables is that in author land, authors are or should not be competitive because readers buy all the books in a topic. Like I write motorcycle adventure travel books. So people who love solo women travel books and motorcycle books and books about the US travel and about China travel, they buy all the books. And so I will promote anybody. I'm like with all of these other authors and to co-market. I'm in a lot of anthologies about solo women travel or motorcycle travel. And we're all friends and we all help lift each other up. And that's what Authorland is, because again, the bookshelf, the people have bookshelves and they love a topic, right? So it's a wonderful thing. It's not a competition. You're not buying one or the other. All right. So listen, we have 2 minutes left, and I hope that you will go to the website carlaking.com/publishing101 and sign up. And I would love to see you there. If you sign up, and again, I will right away get you set up with the bonuses, the 2025 classes. You can introduce yourself in the discussion group and start communicating with each other and start really committing to your book journey, because I know it's a big commitment. And I know you might have to make some choices. And go ahead and put your question in the chat, Johnny, and anything else that you'd like to know. You can also email me if you have specific questions. I'll be giving you a follow-up email, and you can just reply to me, and I'm very happy to answer your questions. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful. Wonderful to see you here today. And I hope to see you in the class or otherwise. All right, great. Thanks, Allison. Thanks, Joan. Thanks, everybody. Johnny. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.